Have you ever wondered what happened when you get struck by a car and you die? What's the afterlife like? Or when you get trapped inside a video game for, 10 years? Today we're going to be talking about isekais.
So what is an isekai? Well, it's just a little subgenre of our anime action. Fun little genre. It's definitely taken off in the last few years because of a certain show, which we'll talk about, but it stems all the way back to, 80s, 90s?
Yeah, there were not a lot, but there were a few shows in the 90s. And just to bring our listeners in a little more that might not know, isekai literally translates to different world. So, hence, the genre of isekais, our main protagonists are killed or somewhat other finding themselves in another world.
And sometimes you get to see that they actually did die. Sometimes they just wake up and suddenly what is going on? Amnesia, memory loss, being dead. It's kind of a common thing, of course.
And another common thing that I read was a lot of the protagonists have ultra abilities.
They're pretty OP,
Yeah.
overpowered for the new environments that they're in. So it's pretty fun. We like it, especially with a show that we'll mention kind of what kicked both of us into watching a little bit more of it. And then I'll talk about a classic that I used to watch because,
If you don't know what we're talking about already, you haven't listened to any of our other episodes, so you need to go and do that.
Yes. But the show in question, Sword Art Online. Now, it didn't start isekais, but I'm telling you, at least for me, they weren't as, mainstream. Personally, I was like, I hadn't seen many, and when we go back into some of the older ones, I'd seen some, but I guess I didn't place it as that. But I feel like the word isekai was being thrown around like crazy after SAO.
Yeah, and the one thing I did see people comment on about Sword Art Online in particular is this was the first isekai to really reach out to the gaming community because it's based around people trapped in an MMO.
And they totally changed at that point because it used to be any world, which will go into like Inuyasha, and now it's like you'll watch them and it's basically a Japanese RPG, fantasy, swords, you name it.
And going back, rewinding. So in the 90s, shows were more fantasy like Inuyasha, which we've talked about before, than is what is known today. They had a lot of shows had female protagonists. Nowadays, you get a little bit more of a mixed bag. I think when I was reading top lists and shows that we've watched, a lot of it is male protagonist, which I'm not going to say is bad or good, but I always like seeing women in prominent roles without having to be overly sexy or, put out there.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a nice trade-off, I think, especially for a couple like ourselves. So we now have a lot more male protagonists with this. So that's you're getting your fix, and then it's all video games. I'm getting my fix. It's like a little handshake of a show. But that's still the newer one. So we'll just start probably, I'm assuming, I think it would make most sense. We'll start with the older ones, which had a little bit away from that whole video game thing.
They definitely develop over time, too. So going back to, I don't know what you have on your list, but my oldest is Inuyasha. Do you have something older than that?
No, because I didn't really have any experience with any of that, so I don't.
You didn't watch those when you were a wee lad?
I didn't watch the ones from the 80s when I wasn't alive. But I guess that's
even
excuse.
Early or late 90s? Because Inuyasha was
the main one.
Okay.
And then early 2000s, I also have another show that I'll talk about. But yeah, Inuyasha.
My favorite show.
Always.
Well, not my favorite. I have some, when I finish it, I have about 40 or something more episodes. It's been a long journey. I think I'm at 165 right now.
I do think the honeymoon stage is gone for that show.
I am ready to wrap it up, as we say, because I was telling you yesterday, as much as I love the show and I love the characters, I think this would be better for me to rewatch if I had more nostalgia about it. If I had watched it when I was younger, had that emotional connection to it, and now I'm rewatching it as an adult, I told you yesterday, there's a lot of episodes that they can just put on the cutting room floor and we can get more story. We could have wrapped this up, I think, in 36 episodes.
The old DBZ problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go into an abridged and get through that show technically.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not as bad as Dragon Ball where you're for 3 episodes. But it's just a different BS episode.
Yeah, instead of the powering up, it's the where is Naraku?
And what demon do we have to battle today? Because we're trying to extend this series into 280 episodes.
It's probably why I eventually fell off of it, because I do like the show. I'm going to keep it exactly where it needs to be. Nostalgia. Late night, watching a few episodes, him screaming for Kagome, and
Oh, man. Yeah.
Sesshomaru's the man, though.
Oh, he's my bae.
Yeah,
if I had to save anyone in the world, sorry, honey, if he
was not even me. He's not real.
I was going to say, if he was in this world, well, I wouldn't be saving him. He would be saving me.
So true.
Well, no, actually,
then I'd grab his foot while he's jumping away with you and be like, me too.
Actually, he wouldn't save me because he's so evil, but he doesn't care about anyone. What was I going to say about when I do a recap, because it's going to happen when I finish Inuyasha, I'm going to do a whole review, and you better believe I'm already laying out the episodes, if you're going to watch it, which ones you can watch and then skip, because it doesn't add anything to the story. So I'm thinking of doing a little, maybe we do a blog, or we can put in the description on the episode numbers if you wanted to watch it.
I think I will want to, it's going to be your episode. I'll probably let you just talk at me or something, because I'm not going to know what, but I will be able to talk about is the best. Huh?
Oh, Sango and her fine booty.
That's right, Sango. But the best episode of Inuyasha, that big deformed farmer.
Oh, that is the sweetest
What a good episode. So I'm going to rewatch that before you do your 140 episode epic recap. And then I'll say
140,
by the way,
180.
180.
Or something like that. It's like just under 200.
That's right. And I know we say, One Piece has 1,000 episodes. It's in the 900s. We know, people. But rounding up, it's basically 1,000. But in context of that, it's not that long of a show. And we've crushed Hunter x Hunter twice, and that's 140, so no excuses.
Yeah, right. Just do that a couple more times.
So yeah, that one, back to the Isekai. It's an Isekai because she falls through a well, and she's in a different parallel, because with an Isekai, it can be a parallel or a different universe, whatever.
And original Isekais, before people really labeled them as that, they dealt with a lot of Japanese spiritual and cultural folklore. So Inuyasha, you have Kagome, who, as I said before, they had some shows that had female protagonists. So Kagome, her family owns a Shinto shrine. Her grandfather runs and protects the shrine. And one day she's called to this building that has a well. And lo and behold, Kagome, classic damsel in distress, gets pulled through the well by a demon.
Yep.
And we find out that she's going 500 years in the past, and a priestess that was alive during that time. She was the keeper of a sacred jewel. Now it's reincarnated in Kagome's body, and that's what the demon was called to when she was at the edge of the well in her time.
And with this jewel, my gosh, you're going to hear the Shikon jewel a lot.
Oh my, I think I yelled up to Tom one day when I was watching this, if they say Shikon jewel one more time,
I know.
And then they did.
No, I think it was that, and then you also said.
It's because Inuyasha, he's a half demon, he's half dog, half human, or half dog demon. Yeah, so his goal in Inuyasha, after Kagome frees him from this tree that he's bound to, he says, no joke, 100 episodes, I want to become a full-fledged demon.
Oh, yeah.
Full-fledged demon. Thinking about it, I'm triggered because of how annoying it was.
No, that's how I live my life. FFD. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so that shows, it's got its quirks. It's also good, and just prepare. There will be a whole episode talking through the actual show.
Yeah,
we don't want to go too into it.
It is a good show. I think, well,
Let's keep it rolling, homie.
Yep.
No more Inuyasha.
I'm done with my love affair.
Listen, I love the show too, but we're talking about isekais here. So we also had around the same time, a couple years after. I don't know when it came to America, but you've got Spirited Away, the Ghibli film, which I guess it says it came out summer 2001. That wasn't for us, though, I don't think.
It probably came out a couple years after.
But nevertheless, an isekai. So, Sen, our main hero, right in the beginning, our main hero, well, protagonist, there you are. She's a bit of a hero. I digress. She is with her family. They're moving to a new house. You see this beautiful sequence of them driving. I love that movie. Gorgeous. It's always going to be one of my favorite. And apparently it's also the most popular isekai ever just because of how popular the movie is. Her parents, the dad being a dad, I'm going to do it my own way, takes this route, ends up going across into this park. Something happens, and Sen is then transported into basically this other side. There's spirits everywhere. Awesome. So she starts working at this bathhouse.
For spirits.
For spirits. Parents missing because of a particular reason. And that, it's basically just her trying to get back and get her parents back. Charming movie. Love it to death. It's my favorite Ghibli. I know it's super basic to say that, but it's my favorite Ghibli movie for sure.
I think it's a lot of people's favorite for a good reason.
Mm-hmm.
I know I do enjoy Spirited Away. I know I enjoy the store. No, but yeah.
It's different moods,
I haven't
too.
seen all the Ghibli movies, but I do have ones that I think I hold dear to my heart. But rewatch factor, Spirited Away is definitely a visual, stimulating, and you got a lot of things going on.
Especially with the DVD intro by John Lasseter. But we don't talk about John Lasseter anymore. So yeah, that's as far as I'd want to go into that movie. I think we'll end up doing a watch with us because that's such a good movie for people to watch.
Yeah. Do you have anything previous to 2012?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I had a cute little segue I wanted to include to mark a specific event, but let's continue before 2012.
Perfect. So another one, which this was for no good reason except for proper marketing and me being just a sucker for commercials. I'd stay up late as you do, watching my cartoons or whatever. And then this ad comes up for a little show, also a video game. They were like launched at the same time kind of deal. I think this could be me just remembering it wrong, but the commercials were always pushing, here's the show, .hack sign. And then there was also a video game of .hack. For some reason, I was like, this is it. I think I love this. It was video games and anime. This is my jam. I don't know. I'd like to actually watch it. There's only 26 episodes. I know I'm going to watch it and be disappointed because it probably... Well, this is the original .hack sign. I think they went and did more. But then you get into the whole Fate thing, and it's like, which we're going to have to watch a couple Fate series.
Does this link to Fate?
No, it has nothing to do with that.
I'm
just
sure
saying
why
it's
you
kind of
brought it
that
up.
same deal where .hack then went and did a bunch of other...
Oh, God. Yeah, they have a bunch of Fate. We don't even know where to start with that.
Yeah, we watched a Giguk video and it still didn't help. But, regardless, this was this show where basically this dude wakes up in an MMORPG called The World, and just like we love, he has slight amnesia. Oh, goodness, what's going on here? And I remember watching that first episode. He's kind of like, what's going on? And then he tries to log out and he can't. So, SAO? Did you watch .hack or something?
We see you.
Right? So he couldn't log out. And so you're on this adventure watching him, and you've got these other characters. So his name is Tsukasa, if you can believe it. We don't know any other Tsukasa, but it's so close to Mikasa that I'm like, hey, nice. And then there was this other character called Mimaru, and I liked her a lot as a teenage boy, of course. Good show, I think. Well, we're gonna have to go back.
Hope.
I can't really recommend it because it's pure nostalgia and pure indoctrination is why I think I like it.
Hey, but maybe you bringing it up right now for our veteran anime listeners, maybe they remember, I did watch that show, and we'll make them want to
and maybe
go
played the
back and
video
watch it
game.
too.
I played the video game and I enjoyed it, I think.
Yeah?
I enjoyed a bunch of stupid stuff. Who knows?
Our taste changed.
So that was like 2002, somewhere in that range.
Okay, cool.
So I think I was 9 in 2000. So plus 2. Art school.
We
11.
do math.
No kidding. So I was about 11. Highly impressionable. Let's hear this awesome segue I was hearing all about.
So I want the red carpet pulled out
Mm-hmm.
for the stars of the show.
Yes.
The show that marked the state of the Isekai genre we know now. SAO.
SAO.
Sword Art Online, baby. My Kirito and Asuna, I have talked about them, I think, in the last 3 episodes in a row.
Yup.
They're close to my heart. I love them. I see them. I want to cry.
And
I want to reincarnate it as Asuna.
look at that. Well,
And
it was nice knowing you because I'm no Kirito. I'm that guy who's just living in the bakery, just trying to make it. Like,
the swordsmith.
Here's some bread. Go on out and fight because I ain't dying.
Hey, save me.
Exactly right. Listen, you taste a little bit of my focaccia bread. Kirito's not going to matter to you.
They say a key to a woman's heart is food. Or is that men?
And shower her with gifts, I think.
Just read a Cosmo article that or men's
as if.
health.
No,
They'll lead
Cosmo
you.
is not the way.
Unless you want some Kama Sutra or something. But talked about it. You probably already know about it for those newer to the anime genre.
Quick shotgun blast of it is man makes game. It's VR. You go paralyzed in bed. You are in this game. Fighty. Everyone's called to the center stage. Wait a second. Who's this big floating guy? What does he say, Danielle?
I can't remember what exactly he
just
says.
basically says, listen, homies.
Joke's on you.
You can't log out. And if you die, you dead. And that's it. And honestly, that's just kind of the quick, gritty. And then we've got Kirito, our main character, or Kirito. And he's just a guy who participated in a beta, and he's good at fighting, meets Asuna. It's great. There's some weird little arcs that go happen in the show, which we will always have a disclaimer, but we are currently in season 3, which is Sword Art Online Alicization, and it is back, baby. I like it.
Yeah. A lot of people say that Gun Gale is where they fell off, or even the Elfheim arc.
Yeah, people hated that Elfheim stuff.
I mean,
It was okay.
I didn't love it, but I didn't, I watched it through to see the ending, honestly.
Well, no kidding, right? And I don't know. The fairies, yeah, it's a little odd. Especially going from like this medieval stuff, dragons, and it's like, let's go float. But the players had to learn to fly. Why do I care? I don't know.
Yeah. But good show. We enjoy it. Like we said, Alicization, that's out right now, which is kind of delayed because of the whole pandemic.
Yeah.
So we're really hoping that they can start pushing out those new episodes.
Well,
we
it
haven't
gives
caught
us
up
time
yet.
to catch up, though.
But do we want to?
Yeah, of course.
I don't want to wait
There's so
every
many
week.
shows we have to watch. Are you out of your mind?
This is true. And some of them are the ones that are on this list that we haven't watched, but look really good, which
Absolutely.
we'll get to.
Yeah, true.
But, okay, so
SAO was good.
I rolled out the red carpet, and now we can roll with everything that kind of fell out after that.
And that truly is like, it didn't
really
define Isekai, but it literally just kind of turned it into this different genre of like, yeah, there's that main thing of them being transported, but now it's like it's always heavily based with the video games. You're either transported, teleported, you've died, and you're reincarnation, anything like that.
Yeah, definitely after. I mean, in the late 90s, early 2000s, like we said, it was based on a lot of cultural aspects. After SAO and probably a little bit before, because of that anime you brought up, a lot of RPG and more mythical fantasy feeling.
Absolutely.
After SAO.
Now, we're going to kind of just machine gun these ones with a few that we have maybe personally seen. And then other than that, we'll just kind of give you some popular names to look out for and maybe look into. Because honestly, if you like one of these, you might just kind of hit a groove where you're like, even if the show's not good, it's kind of just what I like.
Yeah, some of them I've heard, the art style's really good, but the story might not hit the way it is. Or sometimes the story's good, maybe the art's maybe not the best. It really just depends on what you're into.
Yeah.
And what kind of story theme you want to get.
Yeah, why don't you just hit us with Hit us with another one.
So the next earliest one I have that I've heard so much about, it's been on our Crunchyroll list, I think since the beginning. The Devil is a Part-Timer.
Yeah.
From 2013.
And on our list for good reason. Heard great things. It's very hard to not hear about this one, actually. I think people like it. Isekai in the way of, we're actually dealing with Satan here, who's trying to conquer a land in his own dimension or whatever. And a big hero who ends up, it's Amelia, I believe, basically foils his plans and he has to retreat and escape through a portal. Oh, well, where the heck does Satan end up? Maybe the human world? Maybe it's in Tokyo?
And it's present time.
And it's present time. So he's not able to use his magic. He basically has to assume the role of being a human and begins to work at, just for no copyrights, McDonald's.
Love it when they do
Close
that.
enough.
They do that in Inuyasha too. It's just the McDonald's logo flipped upside down as a W.
There you go. It's for Wumbo. Soon after that, maybe his initial plans aren't what he wants, and now he wants to start perhaps climbing the corporate ladder.
Conquering world in a different way.
That's right. Humorous, fun. Not sure if I said it, but only 13 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Not too bad.
That's one hard Saturday or Sunday's day's work.
Exactly.
That's not too bad.
Not too shabby, and honestly, we have no excuse just to handle it.
Next that I had, which we've watched a little bit of, is Konosuba.
Yes.
I think we might be 6, if that, episodes into the show. We watch too many things, people. It's very hard. We are now on a new pact where if we start a show, we finish it. We're not going to bounce back and forth between a lot of shows.
With the caveat of that doesn't go for One Piece. If anything, I think we just try and pepper,
We got to start that train at some time. But going back to the premise of Konosuba.
Yes. We've got our character, Kazuma, who, bit of a video game nerd, and he picks up a video game and is on his way back. And in Isakai fashion,
he dies.
Yes, classic. In this show, he then comes before a goddess whose name is Aqua. She's cool. I like her. She's just a bit obnoxious.
And a bit of a tood.
A little bit of a tood. But she ultimately gives him 2 decisions. Basically, he can continue on to heaven, or he can go to a gamer world and actually have to go there with the main quest of defeating a demon king who's terrorizing villages and all that stuff. But then she also says you can have one item of any kind to aid you on your quest. And he pulls one over on her and says, her.
Because he's thinking that, goddess is really going to help me.
Yeah. Quite the contrary with the show. Aqua's funny. We also got a couple other great characters. Good show so far. Would like to finish it. There's not that many episodes, so 6 is actually a decent chunk of at least the first season. I know that there is also Konosuba 2. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good show. Yeah,
it's cute. Got a lot of girls that show up on anime wallpaper on there.
Exactly. And with a lot of these, they're all pretty humorous. There's definitely a good chunk that have at least good senses of humor with them.
Yeah. So one that I found, haven't watched, but the premise sounded awesome, is Ashes and Illusions.
I haven't even heard of that.
I saw online when I was researching it has a partially different name, but if you search Ashes and Illusions, you'll find it.
Interesting.
It's from winter 2016, and the story follows a group of people who suddenly find themselves in a fantasy world. They have no memories from before their arrival, and the show chronicles their struggles to survive and make a life for themselves as goblin slayers.
I think it's called Grimgar, Ashes and Illusions.
There you go.
Because that's the land that it comes in is Grimgar.
Mm-hmm. So I saw it on some lists, researched it, looked up the premise, and that sounded cool just for the fact that they don't know why they're there.
Yeah,
so
it's nice. A whole group not knowing instead of just the one and then blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And I don't know if they know each other or they find out after corresponding with each other like, oh, you don't remember what happened to you? I don't either. So that's a good question, which if you've watched the show, let us know what you think of it.
Yeah.
If you haven't, give it a go. Maybe it's good.
And done by A1 Pictures, who have done our Sword Art Online, who have done Seven Deadly Sins, Darling in the Franxx, you name it. A1 crushes it.
Awesome.
So
that's what I like to
hear. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. We'll see.
So the next that I'm sure you have a ton of stuff to talk about.
Go ahead.
I've seen a ton of stuff about. Naughty pictures of these girls. ReZero.
Oh, yes, we got Rem. And see, I don't have too much to say because I'm very ignorant to this show.
Oh, I didn't know if because you like Rem, the look of her a lot, if maybe that was on your list and you knew a little more.
I just think it's that classic thing where you said it with fashion. You see something 3 times and you like it.
It's the 7 times factor, I think.
The 7 times factor.
Marketing gets you 7 times in a row. Now, because of how social media is. Side note, because of how social media is, I think it's up to like 14 or more impressions that you need to change someone's opinion about something.
Okay. Interesting. So post a link to our podcast in 14 places. And then hopefully that stacks to 14 in each of those 14 places.
Yep.
And we'll take over the world. But, well, you know what? If it's only 14, that's nothing because you see these girls everywhere.
Yeah. Which is probably why they've made such a big impression on us. We see them all the time.
No kidding.
So, ReZero, you have our main character, Natsuki. He's died.
Mm-hmm.
And he's transported to this other world. And the crux of the show is that when he dies in this world, he gets brought back to a certain save point.
So to an autosave. Nice.
Yeah. So the premise of the show sounds like Groundhog Day. So if he dies, he's getting reborn, and that effect, I've heard that it drives the viewers mad and could drive the character mad. He's balanced out by the characters in the show and his purpose with being reborn to that certain spot. He's assisting and helping, possibly even saving other characters in the show based on kind of this point he's coming back to.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, see, another one. We've got so much on our list, but this is another one that I've seen so much of that I would like to give that one a little watch soon.
Yeah. Heard it's good.
So take that for what that's worth, okay?
Take it or not, whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
Next, I mean, I'm just going to say this for all of them. Obviously, they're on the list because I've heard something about them.
Yeah, this last bit is just going to be all what we've heard, except for Villainous is something we can talk on.
It's going to be the cherry on the top at the end. But another show I've heard that's great is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime.
Yeah.
From 2018. Heard a lot about the show. Never really understood what it was about, but...
I think it's about someone being reincarnated as a slime.
You know what, honey? That's exactly it.
Are you kidding?
And can you imagine that? I'm pretty sure when he eats things, he gains that demon or creature's powers.
Okay. So he's Kirby.
Basically, that's what I think he does. So he just goes OP by eating people.
Gotcha. So he devours anything and then mimics the appearance and abilities of what he devours. That's very cool. Yeah, he's Kirby.
Yeah. Also a cool show.
Yeah. It's got a decent rating. And
what is its rating?
It's got an 8.1 on my anime list. So not too shabby. And relatively new, fall 2018. 24 episodes, not bad. That one, I always put in my mind when I think of this slime one, I think of the slime one, and then also what you're going to probably say is the Shield Hero one.
I did not have that on my list.
You didn't.
I saw it, but I didn't
Those
have
two,
it.
For some reason, I'm very synonymous with, but I don't know anything about the Shield one, so we're going to just
Do you want to talk about that? Oh, okay.
Nope.
So another one that I found that I thought sounded interesting, love when anime has super long titles and basically explains the show, which this does both of. So the title is, Didn't I Say to Make My Abilities Average in the Next Life?
Oh.
Not only is it long, but explains the premise of the show.
Perfect.
So our main character, we meet her. She gets this terrible headache one day and remembers her past life as an 18-year-old girl. So we get a little bit of twist there, and we realize that she died trying to save a little girl. And when she met God, she asked that when she's reborn, she's made to be more average. Because in her life as an 18-year-old, she was good at school and, smart, things like that. So she was put on a pedestal. So all she wanted to do was be average.
Interesting.
And God decides that he's going to make her really OP and she's strong as heck.
Oh, no kidding.
Not only that, but the pictures I saw, she is so cute. She's like Nezuko, but I mean, nothing is as cute as Nezuko.
Of
but
course not.
When you see her, it's just like she's a precious little thing. She's got like cute purpley silver hair. She's cute. So that's a show I definitely want to see is on Crunchyroll because it sounds awesome.
Put it on the old list.
That's all I have for that.
There you go. That's okay. A lot of these, we're not Isekai junkies. We just kind of wanted to spread the word of what it is and give you just some recommendations based on what we're seeing on the old internet.
Yeah, and there's just a lot out there.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't know which ones to watch.
There's one, man, this isn't an Isekai, but I'm gonna skirt this one. There's a show that I can't even really describe too well, so I'm glad I'm bringing this up, is this girl ends up playing this MMO. So it's not an Isekai. She's not going to a different world, but she's just in an MMO. And she doesn't really know what to do with her stats. So she's just putting them all towards defense. And I guess she is just like this force to be reckoned with. So, yeah, not an Isekai, but I want to watch that show. And while you talk about this next one, I'll get the name of that one.
Okay. If you want something maybe a little bit more harem.
Okay. All right.
And a reverse harem for us ladies out there.
Let's go.
Actually, I was surprised it was from 2019, Meiji Tokyo Renka.
Okay.
So we got May, and she somehow, I don't want to explain it because the synopsis was way too long. She gets transported to Tokyo during the Meiji period. And as she navigates this unfamiliar life, romances begin to bloom between May and the male historical figures of that time. Mm-hmm. So she may choose to return to her original time, or she may not. And as someone who has recently downloaded a game on my phone, which is very similar to this, I think I'm going to not play the game and just watch the show.
Perfect.
Because in the game, you're also a character that gets transported into the Meiji period. At first, when I saw this title of the show and I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, is this the same game that I downloaded? But alas, it was not. Very close. But I think I'll just stick with the show.
I'm sure it was based heavily on that show or something, or vice versa. But quickly, I will say the name of the show I was talking about was Ofuri, I Don't Want to Get Hurt, So I'll Max Out My Defense. Another long one that explains exactly what's happening, which is pretty good. And you'll be happy to know the first light cover volume has a bunny on the cover.
Oh, I love bunnies.
Well, there we go. Perfect.
So cute.
You know what? Is it those? How many more do you got?
You know what? These other ones, they're kind of meh. So
I think this is a good base for now. If you guys are digging what you're hearing with some of these concepts, look up Isekais. My Anime List is an incredible site.
Incredible source. There's great forums on there.
Absolutely.
A lot of good, solid information on shows if you're not sure.
So
things like that.
Exactly. So check that out. So
I think, side note, sorry,
Go
I think
ahead.
you might be able to see on my Anime List where you can watch
interesting
certain shows.
I do know that I will be making an account right after this episode's recorded here. Because you can also favorite shows, add them to lists, and just keep track of anime.
Exactly.
And I feel like it's a pretty good tool. So shout out to them. No sponsor required.
Yeah, we're not getting money for this advertisement.
Absolutely. So no more of these what we don't know about. Let's get back to what we know about.
What we know and what we love.
That's right.
Spring 2020. It is new, baby.
Yep, fresh.
My Next Life is a Villainess. All routes lead to doom.
A show that we've grown quite fond of. We started it, watched an episode, kind of stepped away, and now that we're back and watched several in a row. It's cute. It's great. We love it.
Funny. It's got everything you want in a show.
Absolutely.
A little bit of romance.
So, quick premise is you got a girl who loves otome games, which are basically just dating simulators for a girl and this group of guys, and which one do you pick? And oh my gosh. Well, this one, what was the name of this game in it? Fortune
Lover?
Fortune Lover, I believe. And she dies. So, spoiler. What's good about this one is you see her in this, you are instantly watching her in this new world, but they do go back one episode and you see a little bit of kind of what she was like in the previous life or whatever. But She dies, and she's transported into this game that she had actually played, and she knows that basically all the routes that the main character can take lead to the biggest enemy of the game to die. Here's the problem. She got reincarnated as
the villain.
The villain.
That dies.
So she now has to figure out, how the heck do I maneuver and get things situated to where I'm not, 1, banished, 2, killed, or some other stuff to this character. Lovely humor, adorable characters, and Danielle just loves it because...
I'm always laughing. I mean, I haven't had a show, anime or not, make me laugh and enjoy watching a show this much. The humor is just so good. I would say this show, next to SAO, because it's two totally different things, one of my favorite shows now.
You're an Isekai girl.
I really hope it keeps up. And what I love about this show is not only the comedy and the romance, the structure of the show, but even the story. You know, you got Katarina, she's trying to maneuver this, and you see as she's playing through, making these decisions. I've already called, I don't want to spoil anything because it's a great show. You need to watch it.
Well, if you have to put that disclaimer, are you going to spoil something?
No. But you just see how the game is evolving, and I'm at a point where I don't think she's going to get these doom endings. I'm going to make you make those.
That's a pretty big spoiler.
No.
Yeah. Essentially, guys, don't worry. We don't think she's going to have any problem with what the main task was.
Hey, she might still.
Still worth a watch, and it's not that big of a spoiler. You guys won't even remember it. Just, honestly, you'll forget about it when you're saying the name of this dang show.
Because it's so long.
It's very long in Japanese. It's insane. But the relationship she has with all the different characters, it's a sweet, heartwarming show.
Sweet.
Even I like it.
Yeah, and all the girls, I think, in the show, they weren't in our Best Girls episode. I could have a Best Girls episode just on the girl and boy characters of the show. Everyone is so cute.
Here comes a potential wrong by me. The white hair, red eyes, Olivia?
Maybe?
That's
so
probably
she is
wrong.
So cute. She's a little albino girl.
Yeah, there's this girl who basically is a little bit of a shy one because she's been made fun of because she has this white hair, these red eyes. Sophia. Not even close.
It's kind of...
Nah, you're giving me the benefit. I don't need that. Completely wrong. Don't listen to me. Listen to Danielle in that case. So it is Sophia. Cutie. Little cutie patootie.
Sweetie pie. And I just love how Katarina says her brother's name. Kisu! His name's Keith, and in Japanese it's just so cute.
Katarina being the main character, by the way, not the red-eyed, white-haired girl.
Yes, correct.
So, yeah, Keith. What a good guy in the show.
To end off and put a nice little period to this episode.
Yeah, so Isekai's good. We like them.
It's hard to not watch them.
Is it a bit saturated? Sure. But
it's saturated to the point where submissions to new manga stories have put a limit on if you can submit an isekai or not.
No kidding. Yeah, there's a lot, but they are keeping them fresh enough. Essentially, everyone that you hear about that gets popular clearly did something to stir it up a bit, because there are just a lot of mundane ones that you can find. But if this genre is your thing, there's plenty. That's the good news with this.
Look out for future episodes. We're going to break down other categories too, because...
Yeah, a couple subgenres.
Yeah. Call out which of our favorites and which are on our radar.
Absolutely. And we're going to try and hunker down and watch some anime.
Yeah.
So we'll have a little bit more under the belt. We do have a decent amount, but it seems to
it shrinks once I see how many other shows are out there in the universe.
Yeah, once we sit down, I'm like, oh.
I remember when we were starting this podcast, and I made a Google Doc and I listed all the shows we had watched. And I said, honey, we've only watched 30 episodes or 35 different shows. You were like, that's 35 different shows. And now I'm at the point. And I was like,
you're right the whole time.
It is not a lot of shows.
It really isn't. I know I've watched a little bit more, but frankly, my mind ain't what it used to be. I forget so many little things. Whatever. So, yeah, that's Isekais. Danielle, are you done, perhaps?
Oh, yeah, I'm finished.
Okay, well, that's good because I'm done. So at the end of the day, what we have to do to make sure that we can keep this up is we need to let the viewers know that I say goodbye and that you should say goodbye.
Bye, guys.